Hola, es Fernanda. Today I want to talk about raising your standards and what does that even mean? Because I'm kind of realizing that it's not what I thought it was. Part of raising your standards to me now means to connect to your most authentic self and allow yourself to live that in every aspect of your life. And it doesn't necessarily have to just be romantically, but in all friendships and all relationships. What allows you to become the truest version of yourself? And in doing so, what no longer aligns? And when you can align with what is actually true to you, what is actually authentic to you, a lot of things will shift around you. Some people will leave, new people will come in. Maybe situations that you were in, like your workplace or what you were studying or any aspect of your life, it's going to change. And it's not going to be the same as when you lived dimmed down. So I think the first step is connecting to your most authentic self, connecting to who you truly are in your being, removing the interference of your true nature, removing the interference of whatever makes you feel like isn't you. And then on top of that, connecting to what actually makes you feel good. What kind of friendships align with the truest you? What kind of relationships align with the truest you? What is it that you actually need from other people? And what can you give yourself that then no longer requires you to get that from other people? Because when you can align with your most authentic self, what that means is you're giving yourself permission to go back home to yourself, to go back to exactly who you are. And that makes it hard to keep people in your life that aren't treating you in the best way possible. So that's why it raises your standards. And a lot of the time that's going to mean that it's going to be a bit lonely. There's also going to be grief, not only in losing people around you, but also in losing old versions of yourself. Because up until this point, you've always lived a certain way, you've always treated yourself a certain way, accepted a certain type of treatment from other people. And when you start to reparent and heal those negative patterns that you held, there's a grief that comes with that. There's a version of yourself that you're saying goodbye to, that you're no longer feeding, that you're no longer, I guess you're still acknowledging, but you're not listening to them anymore. And you're not acting on whatever they tell you. And it's hard to do that. And there's grief in that because it's literally like a version of you that's dying. And so it's not only, decide what it is that you look for in any relationship. Let's use romantic, for example. What is it that you require from the other person to make you feel seen? What is it that you require to make you feel loved? Like, what is your love language? What is What are your values that you need in order to feel fulfilled? Is it consistency? Is it communication? Is it respect? Is it honesty? Is it humor? I guess that's more qualities, but what values actually align with the truest version of yourself? And then after that, it's what parts of myself do I need to let go of in order to accept that as my new normal? Because it's not only about what are my expectations for this other person or this workplace or like friendship expectations. It's about how am I treating myself? How am I showing others they can treat me? And what do I need to internally shift? What do I need to let go of in order to prove that? Or not prove it, but to start showing up that way. That from now on, I only accept this. And if it's not this, then it's not for me. Because if it's not this, then it's better. And sometimes settling means staying in your comfort zone because there are things within you that you don't want to face. There are things that have always just been that way. And a lot of the time it means that in you saying, I don't accept this anymore, then there's a feeling of loss in that. It can be a loss of connection with your older self, or younger self. It can be a loss of connection with other people around you who might not agree with these new boundaries you're setting, these new expectations that you're expecting, that you're no longer settling for how you were being treated in the past. And not everyone will agree with that. And also, when you can become clear on who you actually are, what you actually bring, what you need, that's when you can set standards. That's when you can decide, okay, these are the things that are actually important to me. And I'm no longer ignoring that. I'm no longer ignoring that gut feeling. I'm no longer ignoring the emotions that come up when I step out of that. And just know that, of course, it's going to be uncomfortable because you're setting new rules for yourself. You're embodying new behaviors, and that's not easy. But then the more time that passes in doing that, the better you're actually going to feel. You're going to feel less drained. You're going to feel less tired. You're going to feel less not chosen. You will feel more chosen. Not only by yourself, but by other people. Because then when people do start coming into your life again, they're going to be aligned with the version that you really are. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to put things aside and pretend like things didn't make you feel a certain way. And it's a different kind of calm. It's a different kind of peaceful. But it starts with you. You're the one who needs to decide what it is that you actually need. What's actually important to you? What do you value? And because also, if you're not going to put in the work to understand those things, why would you expect someone else to? So it's worth it to put in the time to understand all of that. and to maybe reflect on where it doesn't match, where the things that you're saying you want and the things that you're actually accepting don't match. And why they're there. What were they protecting in the past? What patterns came up that made you feel more connected, that now actually make you feel more disconnected from yourself? Because at the end of the day, like, that's what matters, is you being connected to yourself. And not everyone is going to understand you, and that's fine. But when you can't understand you, that's when that feeling of loneliness comes up. Because you're basically shoving aside all the things that really matter, that could really make you feel seen. And when you start seeing those in yourself and you become clear on them, then, like I said, all the people that come in afterwards, they're going to be clear on it too. Because you're showing up in a way that expresses that embodies that. And after a while, after the grief passes, it's really empowering. And you feel like you have control over how you're being treated. And there will be moments of, this feels hard because it was almost the thing that I wanted, but it wasn't quite. And sometimes we just get tested to see if we really have embodied that new version, that new standard. And sometimes it feels bad because we have to step into something uncomfortable. We have to show someone that you're no longer this person. And you have to show yourself too. You have to prove to yourself, you know what? I'm no longer accepting that, and so I'm not going to act in that way. And that's hard. But one day it gets easier. And then the next time after that, it gets easier again. And then sometimes out of nowhere, you just realize, like, I can't believe that I used to accept that. And you can feel proud that you could sit in that, see that part of you, see why they were protecting you, why they used that pattern, and let it go and act differently. I think that's all I have to say about that. If anything resonated, I'd love to hear your perspective. I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you in the next video.